The Mercedes-Benz Vito. Diesel or electric? That's the question. I'm Ben Quirk, welcome to Planet Auto. Now we're what you might say familiar with the Vito. We've driven a fair few of them, diesel and eVito. But yeah, as Mercedes-Benz made very clear right at the beginning, it has its applications. It's not going to suit everybody by any stretch of the imagination. 93-mile range. It was pretty hard to sell, especially when it started at £36,000. It's perfect for, say, flower deliveries or local pizza delivery or something like that. But anything beyond that, I mean, a motorway journey zap your range. The regen was immense, especially around Windermere and so on. You could just go up, down, and then recoup as you went. And there's a fair few changes since the one that we drove. It was probably around 4 years ago. The latest gen, as I said, has completely upped the ante. For a start, it rapid charges 10 to 80% in around 40 minutes, whereas it used to take about 4 hours. The other thing is, no longer is it 93 miles of range, it's 168. The regen seems to be better. Whether that's in my imagination, I don't know, because I expect the powertrain's very similar, just a few tweaks. The thing is, that was never the problem. It drove exceptionally well. A lot of people have driven it, say actually it's like a diesel, but just electric. Also, Mercedes have made it a little easier to charge. For a start, you can just drive straight into a bay, instead of having the charging point here, which was a bit of a challenge because you had to park your van a bit, well, skew width, shall we say. It's now here. I find this more accessible. Nice and sturdy, and you can type 2 and home charge. The other thing is, it does sound like something from Tron when you walk past it at certain points. This now starts at around £46,000. The thing is, it's got more range, so you expect to pay more. You can choose from a premium or a progressive, and there is one battery size, which makes perfect sense. The thing is, if the Vito doesn't tick all the boxes, why not go for the Sprinter? Interestingly, the payload isn't as much, but when you think about it, that makes sense, because obviously, the bigger the van, then the more weight it has to carry, and then you need more batteries, because it's a bigger van. And yeah, say you're carrying lighter and galvanized trunking, you might need more of the length but won't have the excess weight. But as far as Vito goes, it's awesome. We've thought, what can we do? I know, we'll go on a mountain biking adventure. So we headed up to Whinlatter with 2 EMTBs. The only thing that I miss is the fact that there's no V2L, because then I could have charged the bike up there. Same with, say, an inverter inside. It just gives you more functionality, especially if you were going to convert, say, one of these into a camper. I don't even know if that's a market yet, but I can guarantee moving forward it will be. So back to the question at hand, diesel or electric? Well, to put it bluntly, it depends on what you can do with it. If you're going to be carrying loads and you're going to be doing long miles, it's going to be diesel. But if you're going to be doing something in a delivery or, say, an adventure in a weird lifestyle, saying that, we did stick around 250 kilos of gravel in the back of this, and 2 18 stone 6'3" blokes in the front. Because when you look at this, it says payload is, I think it's 709 kilos, including a 75 kilo driver. What's a 75 kilo driver? It certainly wasn't Duncan and I. And the thing is, it didn't affect it. I could zoom up hills. The range didn't go down at any extraordinary level either. And when we started going down hills, especially near Whinlatter, it was recouping left, right and centre. Yes, you do pay an extra 10 grand, but with 168 mile, it's just a far better proposition than it was, say, 4 years ago. And it's a damn good van to drive, and you have a dynamic mode. It doesn't say sport or anything like that. What it says is C, E and E+. Now I know I'm concentrating on the electric. I will get to the diesel because fantastic engines. One final thing, I drive a lot of electric vehicles and I've really got an affinity with them. I mean, the fact that when you slow down, the sound ramps up so you don't scare people in car parks and things like that. They're just cleverly thought out. The fact that you can adapt the regen. So you can roll, you know, nice coasting, or you can put it in a heavier mode and not brake half as much. And all the time, you're putting power back into your battery. Diesel, workhorse. It'll do everything it needs to. I don't think diesel's going to be going anytime soon. I know these deadlines are looming, but with all the U-less zones popping up, yeah, they're trying to outlaw diesels. But when it comes to 40 footers and rigids, they're going to be on diesel for a lot longer than you think. Because, to be honest, the infrastructure's not there. And more than that, the technology's not advanced quite as fast as it should have done. I mean, we're seeing blade technology and we're seeing solid state batteries. But it's going to be a while until you see that in your DAF 40 footer, in your Mercedes-Benz 40 footer. And that's just how it is. So diesel, yeah, you can just load them up. I think the payload on this is around 900 kilos, but to be honest, it would tow way more. They're built to carry. They're workhorses. You know, it's like the Transit. All these vans go up and down the UK daily, delivering everything and anything. And they're what keep us ticking over. And a lot of people will say, nah, give me the diesel every time. For a start, the van's 36 grand, as opposed to 46. So you save 10 grand straight off the bat. Then there's the versatility in lengths. So you've got, I think it's L1, L2, L3, and then you've got like your high cube type ones as well. So there's a van that's going to suit your needs. Payloads, well, it varies, depending on van. They've advanced a fair bit. For a start, ours has got adaptive lights. But then when you look into it, you realise it's got full LEDs, they're automatic, and you've got high beam assist. But it's not really high beam assist, it's more adaptive. So it does it all itself. That was never the case with vans. Everything was, I have to push this forward or twist this. Not anymore. Now, yeah, that's going to get on some people's wick. But the other thing is, it's full of rotaries, proper buttons. Everything's nice and straightforward. Shifter on the column, up or down, and press the N for park. The thing that wins hands down though is the fact that you've got a manual gearbox in this. Yeah, you can go for the auto, and there's varying powertrains. I think one starts at just over 100 brake horsepower and the top one's closer to 200 brake horsepower. The thing is, you don't need to go for your panel. You can also go for your Tourers and your crew cabs. And they're sturdy. They're built as well as they've ever been. Reliable, solid, German. Let's have a look inside. So, sliding, of course. This one auto locks itself. Yeah, nice. Sliding doors and wood panelling throughout. You can get things like anchor systems, rail systems on the floor, easy to climb into, nice rigid plastic here. And yeah, one thing that is missing is a grab handle. It would have been nice to see one here or say here. Boxed off arches and a non-slip floor. Interior light there and a jack, and both doors open fully. Also, this is a nice addition. It means that you can put longer loads in and you don't have to have this solid bulkhead. And if you do get trapped in your van, not ideal on a summer's day, they're very easy to open. And as you can see, we have dual sliding doors. To open, pull. Talk about versatility. Doors are nice and sturdy, and you can push like this, meaning that you could drive up to a loading bay quite easily. Lock here, a manual override. To release, pull in. Pull it properly, mate. The rear's very modern. Nice clear rear lenses and high level brake light. You've also got a reversing camera and parking sensors. That's it. You get features that you find on a car. Just makes driving a van a heck of a lot easier than it was in the 80s, where you had, well, a stereo and maybe slide in your seat. If you like this type of video, why not subscribe to the channel? You just hit the button on the right hand side. It's free and you'll get an alert every time we upload. Also, if you do like the video, why not give it a like? It all helps and it means we can get more cars. Thank you. The electric, of course. It's alive. Ah yes, the duvet from the bikes. Also my tethering system. When you're carrying loads, always remember to tether, especially when there's 10 grand's worth of them. Inside, pretty much the same, except this one isn't wood panelled. Dual sliding doors once again, and interior light, tethering points. You can get the same options that you can get for that. And no doubt they do conversions too. And if you're wanting something, say, campery, why not look at the Marco Polos? So, you do get a Type 2 cable, which is tethered. Oh, I didn't know that. That's quite clever. I would say that might be 5 meters, to be honest. It's just literally plug it in one end of the charger and then the rest into your van, and then use either an app or a card or whatever the system is. Now ideally you want to rapid charge, but it makes it extremely cost effective if, say, you've got a home charger and you're charging it on Type 2, especially between, say, 12:30 and 4 AM in the morning. You'll get maybe 40 to 60 miles, dependent on the speed. And that's enough for a commute. And then if you go to your workplace and they've got chargers, and a lot of places do now, especially say new builds and building sites, because they have to have chargers fitted, it makes it far more cost effective than you might think. Ideally, you'd need both. The front, typically Mercedes. And a lovely thing is, that's interesting, on the electric, there's the Mercedes logo. Look at that for retro. And I think that's the first logo that Mercedes had. You see it all over the Mercedes-Benz Museum, which Annabelle has visited. It's rather nice that they're proud of their heritage, a bit like Jeep. I like finding, well, Easter eggs. Inside, they're very similar. Lots of hard plastic, but that makes them robust. Comfortable interiors. But the one thing that's missing on both is grab handles. That seems a strange thing to omit. Also, the door doesn't open quite as wide as you'd think, which may make it a little more difficult for people with disabilities. You can get a progressive or a premium. Now the progressive, talk about being kitted out. Heated seats. I just don't expect to get those on a van. Also, if you've got these up here, it just makes it very easy to see when you're coming up close to a wall, hedge, clear cluster, and a decent infotainment screen. Not the biggest, but you don't expect it. Everything's straightforward. Look at this, it's a leather wrapped steering wheel. Yeah, this is all solid, but you've got lots of storage points. Just look at the size of this door pocket. Cup holder, but as Duncan found out on our EV mission, his cup wouldn't fit in it. However, it did fit in that. Paddles the regen on the back, cruise control, and this is your drive system. Reverse up, neutral, and drive down. Hit the end for park. Rotary dial for your lights, and you can disable your parking sensors. And yes, you do have lane keep assist. Interestingly, you've got no footrest. Now you might be thinking, well, that's because you've got your, I can't really say foot activated handbrake, or can I? Well, there's nowhere to put it. Well, our W124 Coupe would disagree with that, because it's still got a big footrest on the left hand side, so it would have been nice to see one of those. Foot activated emergency brake that you can release with the handle here. I do like those. Reminds me of classic Mercedes, which is always a good thing. I think this is the one I'd go for. Solid build quality. Yeah, you get that like vibratory noise, but that goes with the van, doesn't it? Today I'm just going to have the door open because it's like sitting in an oven. The thing is, well, it's a pleasant cabin. You've got a light headliner, you've got lots of storage points, lots of tech, places for mobile phones, decent sized glove box, also lockable, an airbag. The one thing it is missing, like I mentioned, is grab handles, and that's anywhere. That seems a strange thing to omit. 12-volt socket down here, and as it's a van, it's also a cigar lighter, air conditioning. And you never thought you'd see that in this kind of thing. Decent system. The thing is, even on say 1 or 2, it doesn't draw too much power on the electric motor either. Sorry, battery. Dynamic mode and hazards. But you've got all these other inserts that, well, the world's your lobster. Option up as you see fit. Check out mercedes-benzvans.co.uk to find out more. Infotainment screen, nice and simple. Rotaries, proper buttons, and even DAB radio. I do love a height adjustable seat. It's a comfortable one at that. Quite buckety, and adjustable armrest. Thing is, it's only on one side. Could have sworn there was an option for it. The thing is, with a van, you get a great driving position. You do get this, it's like a oddments box, so that's pretty cool. All in all, it's more than you expect in a van. The other thing is, it drives exceptionally well, but you'll be able to see that on our loading video, and also our adventure up with the EMTBs. I think that's what stood out most in this, when we were heading up Winlatter. And that was before we knew it even had the dynamic mode. It's quite easy to miss because you don't expect driving modes to be there. You expect them to be on the steering wheel or something that clearly says driving modes. Time for the diesel. Yeah, once again, no grab handles. Well, it's certainly cooler sat here. Essentially a carbon copy. Same interior. The only difference is we have a manual gearbox and obviously a diesel engine. But same analog clocks, just with a rev counter on this side. And cruise control. Same handbrake system, sorry, foot brake, handbrake. Storage points. The one thing I would have liked to see on the Vito is a storage point up here, but because of its dimensions, it kind of makes sense why it isn't there. No heated seats on this one, but we still get aircon, and we get DAB radio, navigation, and all the other functionality that you find in the other infotainment system. USB is perfect for smartphones, and little storage pots everywhere. Decent room, and you can even store something on top of this transmission tunnel. Same parking sensor system, reversing camera. All in all, they're pretty similar. It's good to see the old standards don't die, because when you lift up the little cupboard in the back of Dorothy, you'll find a Mercedes first aid kit that's, I think it was dated 1991. I went back to that question. Do you go diesel or do you go electric? And on that note, I'm going to climb out of the cabin before I burst into flames. Both are excellent at what they do, whether it's the diesel or the electric. Neither skipped a beat. I mean, we did lots of runs in the diesel, and we did, well, probably more runs in the electric. And that's the thing, you still get the same features as well. Now with this, yeah, you get the halogen headlamps, and with that you get the LEDs. Whether you can get LEDs on that, I'll have to verify on the screen. But either way, they're still pretty good lights. Practicality wise, you get everything you need. If I had to make the choice, I'd go for both. I get one for lifestyle, and I get one for heavy lugging. And also, well, a diesel, you don't need to charge it, even though this can still charge 80% in around 40 minutes. And that's excellent when you compare it to the fact that it used to take 4 hours. And Mercedes-Benz, well, they're reliable across the board. I mean, just look at Lady Dorothy. RC124, 33 years old, 216,000 miles, on a 4-cylinder petrol engine. No rebuild. Says it all, doesn't it?